The federal government has given its strongest indication yet that it intends to sign up to a net zero emissions target. Live to Jonathan Lee in Canberra. Jonathan, the Treasurer has highlighted the cost of inaction for everyday Australians.
Danica, the Treasurer certainly has. This was given in an online speech as the government's money man really starts to lay the groundwork in what is a significant shift on climate policy. The Treasurer talking about the practicalities and the realities of Australia's global economy, an economy that really is dependent on borrowed money and foreign investment. That's the fact that we are a smaller nation with a very large land mass. The Treasurer also makes the point that more than 120 nations have already signed up to net zero emissions. Australia, of course, hasn't. And those institutions and those big lenders which lend the money to Australian businesses and Australian banks are very much risk adverse when it comes to investing in areas and governments which aren't signed up to global or to reducing global warming. So the point the Treasurer is trying to make here is that if Australia doesn't get on board, we will be left behind.
Reduced access to these capital markets would increase borrowing costs, impacting everything from interest rates on home loans and small business loans to the financial viability of large infrastructure projects. Australia has a lot at stake. We cannot run the risks that markets falsely assume that we are not transitioning in line with the rest of the world.
Time for talk is over. This is just talk. If Josh Frydenberg wants a pat on the back for this 5 minutes to midnight road to Damascus conversion when he's been a senior figure in this government, which have been climate wreckers for 8 years, he's not going to get it.
Now, rightly or wrongly, Danica, the third wheel or the hard edge in this debate has often been the National Party. They are concerned about signing up to net zero emissions because they believe they picked up the cost for previous climate targets, notably Paris. That was because they say farmers were prevented from developing and clearing their land. Barnaby Joyce has spoken out both this morning and a short time ago. He's been making the point that he's not necessarily ideologically opposed to net zero, but wants to ensure that the party will only support it if original voters aren't worse off. He also took the opportunity to attack the opposition.
If the Labor Party does not have the political smarts to even know exactly what's going on in the globe right now, then of course we have to do it for you and make you aware of it, and then maybe you can come back and respond to it.
Jonathan, Senate President Scott Ryan has announced he will bring forward his retirement.
Yeah, some interesting breaking news this afternoon. Scott Ryan announcing, and it should be said that he's one of the more likeable members of Parliament. He is the Senate President, that he's bringing forward his retirement by 9 months. Apparently it's to align with the resumption of Parliament on October 16. The reason he's doing that, he says, is he wants to give his colleagues the opportunity to get to Canberra. They're probably going to have to go into quarantine and be able to participate in a ballot to choose the Senate President replacement. He's been in Parliament for 15 years. He was the Senate President since 2017. It's also important to note that this coincides with Tony Smith, the Speaker in the lower house. He has also announced he won't contest the next election. So assuming the coalition is successful this election, that assumption would mean next sitting of Parliament we would have a new Senate President and we'd also have a new Speaker of the lower house.
Jonathan, thank you.